So we have with us Anmol Jain, Managing Director, Lumax Auto Technologies Limited. Thank you so much for time.
Thank you.
And, I would like you to start with JVs that you signed with
Yokovo.
Yokovo, and what is the significance? How it is going to help enhance your content per vehicle?
So Lumax, as you know, has been very strong in lighting and gear shifters. We are the
Yes.
market leaders. Going forward, we are very clear in terms of a strategic intent. We would like to penetrate forward in the electronic space. And Yokovo is a partner where we have been discussing with them for the vehicle antenna systems. And also going forward, it will help us in getting the connected vehicles, vehicle to vehicle connectivity, and also a much more robust driver information systems. So we have just signed the joint venture today. It's a 50-50 joint venture, and it's again a part of the strategic intent to foray further into the electronic space. We should be having a manufacturing plant sometime in next year.
Okay.
Right now, we are going to be in the process of getting orders, customers. The good part is that Yokovo already has relations with Indian OEMs,
Okay.
and Indian OEMs are already using Yokovo parts through the import route.
Okay.
So the first step would be to localize, maybe first pass through, second phase localization, third phase a deeper localization. But Yokovo is the market leader. It's a very strong company when it comes to vehicle antenna systems, and we would be pretty much onboarding all the products, right from a very basic level antenna system to a very high-end antenna system, which would be capable of doing multiple things, including wireless communication, including driver behavior, including driver also information in terms of the vehicles, and also of course the navigation, etc., etc.
So that means this will be the endpoint to connect to the cloud
Correct.
for all the information.
Correct.
Yeah.
So for
So
the
how many variants or models will be there? Because you said from the base level to the premium.
So technically the technologies would be about 4 to 5 different layers of technology, and within each technology there could be multiple variants as the need of the customer would be. But on a broader scale, I would say there would be 4 to 5 technologies, going from a low spectrum technology to a very high spectrum technology.
So you will play around on standardization,
Of course.
on the hardware part, and then the software. Of course, you can just.
So there is not,
customize.
correct, but there is not too much of a software play here. I think the play is more on the hardware, on a product specific, and the product specification would be very different from one OEM to the other. But we would also be the first in India to localize this product. Currently, every vehicle which you see on the Indian roads would have some onboard antenna. It could be as simple for a FM radio connectivity to a complicated one which has, you know, the multiple functions. So Yokovo has the capability to produce all, and Lumax brings its obviously relationship with the OEMs and obviously the India presence to the joint venture.
Why Yokovo?
They are the leaders. They are the leaders. They are the leaders in this. And again, being a Japanese company and India also being dominated by Japanese OEMs, you know, it is just very logical to partner with Japanese players, and so that's our strategy.
Okay. What was the reason for them to choose? I should ask them, but still, they must have done some study and.
I think Lumax offers itself as a neutral and a strong Indian player. We don't have a specific affiliation with any one OEM. The diversity of products and the diversity of our customers is something which is unique.
That's attractive.
Okay, we supply to all OEMs in India, whether it's two-wheeler, three-wheeler, bus, truck, tractor, passenger cars, across segments. So we enjoy a very strong relationship with almost all the OEMs, Japanese, Indians as well.
So it's a natural.
Correct. So we understand the market. We have 29 manufacturing facilities in India. Our strategy has always been to cater to the needs of the Indian market. So we get global partnerships. This would be our 10th partnership. But all the partnerships are focused on the territory of India. So that's always been our, let's say, focus or USP, and that's why perhaps a global partner. And also with the Japanese, you have to understand that it's a relationship built on trust and longevity. And we have our longest joint venture with our lighting partner for over 36 years, which is a Japanese relationship. So that also speaks volumes of what Lumax as a culture in a partner can kind of imbibe.
You also signed with another company to make HVAC systems. Right?
Correct. So that's not a new partnership. It's actually the same 34-year-old partnership with Stanley, where we have a relationship for the lighting. We're expanding that relationship to also accommodate the other products and portfolios that Stanley manufactures. So as I said, the strategic intent for the Lumax Group is to go forward in the electronics domain. And Stanley already does a lot of electronics apart from lighting. So at the first step, we had insourced the PCB and the SMT manufacturing, which is a very integral part of lighting. SMT, surface mounted technology. And a PCB is a printed circuit board. So as the transition towards LEDs are happening more on the lamps, this becomes a very vital part of the lamp technology. And Stanley does this in-house. Lumax has in the process of putting up a new facility to insource all these technologies on the electronics part. So as a part of that facility, we also will expand our relationship onto the HVAC panels. And again, HVAC panels of Stanley are already currently being used by certain Indian OEMs. And for us, it will be again, phase 1 localization and phase 2 a deeper localization.
So this gives a twin opportunity for you. One, to prepare yourself for the LED foray, and
Correct.
also to HVAC.
Correct.
Right?
So
the base is common, the
exactly.
SMT and the PCBs.
The partner is the same.
Yeah.
So the idea is that if you already have a partner of 34 years, how more can you utilize that partnership? So rather than being product specific, it needs to be, okay, whatever we can do as part of our corporate umbrella, let's expand that. And I think so far the market was not ready to look at other products because LED transformation is a few years old. And now that we see huge volumes of LED technology coming into play, I thought it was the right time to get into the electronics vertical backward integration. And it's also, since it's a very critical part to lighting, and also then expand to the other electronic spaces.
What would be the USP for Lumax when it comes to getting to the customers, or why should an existing or a new customer come to Lumax to take the HVAC?
So very simply, Lumax's philosophy has always been, as I said, to tie with global partnerships.
Yep.
And also the technology transfer. What we try to do is that we do not get the same level of technology into India because the price points are very different from the Indian customer standpoint. So with our engineering capability, which Lumax possesses, we will get that technology and adapt it suitably to the Indian conditions at the Indian price points. Okay. That's the so-called value add or USP which we bring to the table. So the innovation and the cutting edge technology still rests with the foreign partner, but we adapt it to the Indian needs, and then we just try to, together as two partners, bring a better product to the Indian customer at the acceptable price points.
Okay. That's very interesting. So both this, to what extent you see will help increase the content per vehicle?
So the content per vehicle for us, for example, when I talk about a lighting, and when a lighting goes from a traditional bulb type to a LED type, the price goes from at least 2x to 3x, depending on the complexities of LED. So that would easily, I would say, double the content per vehicle. In terms of HVAC panels, I would say that again, it would add a significant amount to our contribution per vehicle. I would say at least 15% would go up further on the HVAC panels. And again, HVAC panels could be very simple, more button type compared to a very digital touchscreen type would probably go on a premium segment. But again, these are things which would eventually be dictated by the OEMs, what the specifications are, what the features are, and the price points are always determined by the customer. We may be, again, as I said, have the technology to give them something, but unless and until it meets certain price points, it will never see mass production. Because
electronic content, that's been increasing. I think from 45, even if you take the base level, if you consider all the electrical and then put it in the electronic, it's about 40 to 45%.
at a vehicle level, you're saying?
Yeah, and it goes up to 55 to 60 in the premium.
Especially with the BS6 now transition, it will increasing, yes.
Is this one of the key drivers for you to focus more on the electronics, and then, or the electronics is just already, is come to a saturation point? I'm asking you.
No, so as a group, you have to see that we always build on our core competencies. And if you see Lumax as a group, we are largely a group which knows plastics and knows electronics. Because of our lighting background, we know electronics very well. And electronics has, lighting has moved more from a sheet metal glass technology to a plastics technology for over a decade. And now it's moving into the electronic space. So we understand electronics and we understand plastics very well. Going forward at a vehicle level architecture, both in two-wheelers as well as in passenger cars, because of BS6 transition, also because of lightweighting, because of the fuel norms, CAFE norms coming in, we personally feel that plastics and electronics would continue to play a vital role in shaping up the future of the automobile in terms of the architecture, the design, the materials usage, the onboarding of multiple computers, the interface between the driver and the vehicle. So this space is something which excites us strategically, and hence the intent to try and see what products under plastics and electronics are things which we can offer to our customers, either by way of getting these new technologies through regulation, which are mandated by regulation, or are perhaps pain point of our customer, or certain niche areas where we can actually add value.
What other adjacent areas you see in the same space?
Correct.
With the JV with
Yokovo
and Stanley.
So with Stanley, I think as step one, we will get into the HVAC panels, as I said, and the electronics. And going forward, we would like to at least get into the electronic domain of Stanley. Stanley also is the only lighting maker in the world which manufactured its own LED.
Its own LED.
Its own LED. And it's the only lighting maker in the world which does that. So going forward, let's say 5, 7, 10 years down the line, if 3/4 of the market of automotive lighting moves towards LED, and the LED demand is significant, we may as well take leverage of this relationship to manufacture our own LEDs for the Indian market. That is also something which could see, in the future. With Yokovo, I think antennas is their USP. That's their core product. And as the vehicle communication systems evolve over time, I think the antenna as a product would remain the same, but I think the level of integration and technology within that antenna will keep on evolving and changing.
To me, this appears to be you're confined to passenger vehicle segment.
Correct.
Do you also see scope to extrapolate this to commercial vehicles? Even the trucks and buses are getting more features,
right?
Very advanced. In West, I think truck is more complicated than passenger car.
Correct. So I would say that the telematics is a space which even the commercial vehicles perhaps have a huge need for. For telematics, Lumax has actually a separate joint venture. For telematics devices, it's with an Israeli company. But coming back to Yokovo, the antenna systems currently, at least the commercial vehicle, we do not anticipate in the next 2, 3, 5 years a huge influx of antenna system demand in seaweed. So right now, I think our endeavor would be for this JV to get started, would be to first penetrate into the passenger car space. As I said, we will be the first in India to localize this product. So we must, being the first mover, try to take full advantage of that. And since it's a Japanese partnership, we would definitely first and foremost go with the Japanese OEMs, also the Indian OEMs who have a huge need for this product. So our marketing teams would first and foremost get that started. And once I think that we reach a certain scale of penetration into the passenger car space, should the technology emerge in this commercial vehicle space,
by the time that will also get matured.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So the plant will be the existing plant utilizing, or you will have a dedicated plant?
So we will have a new dedicated facility in Haryana, which will be there, and again it would come up in phases. Phase 1 would be perhaps just assembly, and as the volumes kick off, then we will get into a process-wise localized strategy. So over 2-3 years, maybe somewhere around 20 crores, 25 crores. So again, maybe we'll start with 10 crores and going to 25 crores over the next 2-3 years. But this is something, again, as I said, it'll have to have in a phased manner. Once we So HVAC, we will get into production perhaps in FY 21-22. And again, we will first start as a pass-through product. So rather than a direct import, we will import as Lumax Stanley and supply to the customer. Correct. And then we will probably do local assembly, and then we will indigenize and localize certain products. So it would be a phased manner, but again, this would be part of the Lumax Industries ecosystem, which is a joint venture with Stanley, and it's just going to expand another basket of product to the HVAC panels.
What's next? Joint venture?
A lot of exciting things. We are also in the we've signed a MOU with a Chinese company, which is a specialist in electric vehicle space.
The motor that
for motors and controllers. So it's
for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers.
For 2 and 3-wheelers. They are very, very strong for this segment. China being the market leader in electric 2-wheelers. This company already has ties and relations with Indian electric vehicle makers. So they are using their products as a part of import. And as the government is pretty clear about the EV policy and they want to actually push this forward, we see that as the EV demand grows, there would be a deeper need for a local product available. It cannot be just dependent on imports. So
will it be like, kitting or CKD of motor being assembled here?
So it'll be phases again, but depending on the customer needs. For certain customers, it may be just assembly. For certain customers, it may be some part of localized parts will be here. And again, so as I said, we just done an MOU. I think over the next 6 to 9 months, we would be doing a lot of market feasibility studies and then perhaps taking this relationship forward.
So that will be another avenue for opportunity.
That'll be another avenue.
Thank you, Anmol.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lovely talking to you.